Hello and welcome to the Mindful Zone. Today we're embarking on a journey together, a journey toward cultivating patience, one of the most transformative qualities we can nurture within ourselves. Whether you're new to meditation or already familiar with mindfulness practices, this video is designed to guide you gently, offering tools inspired by Buddhist teachings, meditation techniques, and mindful living principles. In our fast-paced world, patience often feels like an elusive quality. We live in an era where instant gratification is the norm. Our phones deliver information at lightning speed, food arrives at our doorsteps within minutes, and entertainment streams endlessly. Yet, despite all these conveniences, many of us feel more stressed, restless, and impatient than ever before. Why is that? Perhaps it's because we've forgotten how to slow down. We've become so accustomed to rushing from one task to the next that we rarely pause to appreciate the present moment. And when life doesn't unfold according to our plans, or when someone cuts us off in traffic, we react impulsively, fueling frustration and tension. But what if there was another way? What if we could meet life's challenges with calmness and clarity instead of irritation and stress? That's exactly what we'll explore today. How to cultivate patience through Buddhism, meditation and mindfulness, and how this practice can profoundly impact your daily life. Patience isn't just about waiting, it's about transforming how we relate to life's difficulties, delays, and even its beautiful moments. Through patience, we learn to embrace imperfection, let go of unnecessary struggles, and find peace in the midst of chaos. Think about a recent situation where impatience arose for you. Maybe you were stuck in a long line at the grocery store, or perhaps a project didn't turn out the way you hoped. How did that feel in your body? Did you notice tightness in your chest, tension in your jaw, or a racing mind? These physical sensations are clues. They show us where we're holding on to resistance. And while it's natural to feel frustrated sometimes, learning to navigate those emotions with patience can make all the difference. Patience isn't something we're born with. It's a skill we develop over time. Just like strengthening a muscle, cultivating patience requires consistent effort and practice. But here's the good news. Every small step you take brings you closer to greater inner peace. Even a single mindful breath can create space between stimulus and response, allowing you to choose kindness over frustration, calm over chaos. Throughout this video, we'll dive deep into practical tools and insights you can apply right away. From understanding the science behind patience to exploring ancient Buddhist wisdom, we'll cover everything you need to know to start cultivating this essential quality in your own life. Along the way, I'll guide you through meditations and exercises designed to help you connect with yourself and the world around you in a more meaningful way. So take a moment now to settle into your space. If you're sitting, find a comfortable position. If you're lying down, allow your body to relax fully. Close your eyes if you'd like, or keep them open and soft. Whatever works best for you, take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Feel the weight of your body supported by the surface beneath you. Allow any tension to melt away as we prepare to embark on this journey together. And remember, there's no pressure to get it right. This is your time to simply be, to show up as you are and explore what patience means to you. Together, we'll uncover ways to bring more ease, joy, and presence into your everyday life. Are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. What is patience? Let's start with a simple yet profound question. What is patience? At first glance, it might seem like a straightforward idea, waiting without complaint, enduring delays gracefully, or tolerating discomfort without frustration. But when we dig deeper, we discover that patience is far more nuanced and transformative than these surface-level definitions suggest. In its essence, patience is not just about waiting. It's about how we show up in the present moment while waiting. It's about cultivating a mindset of acceptance and presence, even when life throws challenges our way. To truly understand patience, we must explore what it means to accept what is, rather than clinging to what we wish things could be. Consider this. How often do you find yourself resisting reality? You're stuck in traffic, and instead of accepting the situation, your mind races with thoughts like, why does this always happen to me? Or you're waiting for a response to an email, and every minute that passes feels heavier, filled with impatience and irritation. These are moments where patience, or the lack of it, reveals itself. But here's the thing. Life doesn't unfold according to our timelines. People move at their own pace, circumstances shift unpredictably, and sometimes, no matter how hard we try, things simply don't go as planned. When we resist this truth, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. Patience then becomes a practice of aligning with reality, not fighting against it. To illustrate this point, let's turn to one of the oldest wisdom traditions on earth, Buddhism. In Buddhist teachings, patience, or kshanti, is considered one of the 6 perfections or paramitas. These perfections are qualities that lead to enlightenment, and patience holds a special place among them because it helps us navigate the inevitable difficulties of life with grace and equanimity. In Buddhism, patience isn't seen as passive endurance. Rather, it's an active choice to remain calm and centered in the face of adversity. Imagine being cut off in traffic again, not reacting with anger, but instead taking a deep breath and saying to yourself, this moment is impermanent. It will pass. That's patience in action. It's choosing to respond with understanding rather than reactivity. One of my favorite metaphors from Buddhism compares patience to a mountain. Think about it. A mountain stands tall and steady regardless of the weather around it. Rain falls, winds howl, snow blankets its peaks, but the mountain remains unchanged. In the same way, patience allows us to stand firm amidst life's storms, staying rooted in our inner peace no matter what happens externally. Now let's bring this idea closer to home. Picture a recent situation in your own life where impatience arose. Maybe it was something small, like waiting for a coffee order during a busy morning, or perhaps it was something bigger, like dealing with a disagreement with a loved one. Take a moment to recall that experience. Can you remember how it felt in your body? Did you notice tension creeping into your shoulders, a tightness in your chest, or a racing heartbeat? These physical sensations are signals. They tell us that impatience isn't just a mental state, it's also deeply embodied. The good news is that by becoming aware of these sensations, we can begin to work with them. Instead of letting impatience take over, we can pause, breathe, and ask ourselves, what am I really feeling right now? And why does this moment feel so challenging? Often beneath the surface of impatience lies a deeper emotion, fear, frustration, or even a desire for control. By shining a light on these underlying feelings, we create space to respond with compassion rather than reactivity. Another key aspect of patience is recognizing that it's not about suppressing emotions. Some people mistakenly believe that being patient means bottling up anger or pretending everything is fine when it's not. But true patience involves acknowledging our emotions fully, feeling them, observing them, and then deciding how to act. It's about creating a gap between stimulus and response, giving ourselves the freedom to choose wisely rather than react impulsively. To better understand this distinction, let's look at a common example: miscommunication in relationships. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone said something that triggered you? Maybe they misunderstood your intentions, or perhaps their tone came across as dismissive. In that moment, it's easy to snap back defensively, escalating the conflict. But imagine if you paused instead, if you took a few deep breaths and reminded yourself that misunderstandings are part of human interaction. That pause, however brief, is an act of patience. It gives you the clarity to respond thoughtfully rather than emotionally. Of course, patience doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior or staying silent in the face of injustice. There's a difference between patience and passivity. True patience empowers us to set boundaries, communicate assertively, and advocate for ourselves and others, all while maintaining a sense of calm and compassion. It's about finding balance between standing up for what's right and not letting anger or frustration dictate our actions. As we continue to unpack the meaning of patience, it's helpful to consider how it relates to other qualities we strive for, such as kindness, resilience, and gratitude. For instance, when we approach life with patience, we naturally become kinder to ourselves and to others. We stop expecting perfection and start embracing imperfection. We realize that everyone is doing the best they can with the resources they have, and that realization fosters empathy and connection. Similarly, patience builds resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and the ability to stay grounded during tough times is a hallmark of emotional strength. When we practice patience, we train ourselves to ride the waves of change without getting swept away. We learn to trust that difficult moments will pass, just as joyful ones inevitably do. This perspective helps us face challenges with courage and hope. Gratitude also plays a role in cultivating patience. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our attention away from scarcity and toward abundance. Instead of fixating on delays or setbacks, we begin to appreciate the lessons hidden within them. Every obstacle carries an opportunity for growth, if we're patient enough to see it. At this point, you might be wondering, if patience is so powerful, why is it so hard to practice? The answer lies in our conditioning. From a young age, we're taught to value speed, efficiency, and results. We're rewarded for finishing tasks quickly, achieving goals rapidly, and solving problems immediately. While these skills are valuable in certain contexts, they can also condition us to view slowness or uncertainty as undesirable. But life isn't always fast-paced or predictable. Sometimes growth takes time, healing requires patience, relationships deepen gradually, creative projects unfold over months or years. By learning to embrace the process rather than obsessing over the outcome, we open ourselves to richer, more meaningful experiences. To help you connect with this idea, let's try a short reflection exercise. Close your eyes if you'd like, or simply soften your gaze. Bring to mind a goal or dream you've been working toward, something that hasn't fully manifested yet. Now ask yourself, am I rushing this process, or am I allowing it to unfold naturally? Am I putting too much pressure on myself to achieve this quickly? Notice any feelings that arise as you ponder these questions. Are you holding on to expectations tightly, or can you loosen your grip and trust the journey? Remember, patience isn't about giving up on your goals, it's about trusting the timing of your life. Just as seeds need time to sprout and grow, so do our dreams. Each step along the way is valuable, even if it doesn't look exactly like we imagined. Before we move on to the next chapter, I want to leave you with one final thought. Patience is a gift you give to yourself. When you choose to meet life with calmness and acceptance, you reduce stress, increase joy, and create space for love and connection to flourish. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. With practice, patience becomes less of an effort and more of a natural way of being, a quiet confidence that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. And that, my friends, is the beauty of patience. Chapter 2: The Science Behind Patience. Welcome back to our exploration of patience. In the last chapter, we delved into what patience truly means, how it goes beyond mere endurance and becomes a profound way of relating to life's challenges with grace and presence. Now let's turn our attention to the science behind patience. Why does cultivating patience make such a difference in our lives? What happens in our brains and bodies when we practice patience? And how can understanding the science deepen our commitment to this transformative quality? To answer these questions, we need to look at the groundbreaking research happening in fields like neuroscience, psychology, and even behavioral medicine. Over the past few decades, scientists have made incredible strides in understanding how practices like mindfulness, meditation, and emotional regulation, the building blocks of patience, impact our physical and mental health. Spoiler alert: the findings are nothing short of remarkable. Let's start with one of the most exciting discoveries: the brain's ability to change itself through experience. This phenomenon is called neuroplasticity, and it's the reason why patience isn't just a theoretical concept. It's something you can actually cultivate and strengthen over time. Every time you choose to respond patiently instead of reacting impulsively, you're rewiring your brain. You're reinforcing neural pathways associated with calmness, empathy, and resilience while weakening those linked to stress, anger, and frustration. But how exactly does this work? To understand, we need to zoom in on specific areas of the brain that play a role in patience and emotional regulation. One key player is the prefrontal cortex, often referred to as the brain's executive center. This region is responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and planning. When you practice patience, you're essentially training your prefrontal cortex to step in before emotions like irritation or impatience take over. It acts as a kind of mediator, helping you pause and consider your options before reacting automatically. Now, contrast this with another part of the brain, the amygdala. The amygdala is involved in processing emotions, especially fear and anger. When you encounter a stressful situation, like being stuck in traffic or dealing with a difficult coworker, the amygdala tends to activate first, triggering the famous fight or flight response. Without intervention from the prefrontal cortex, this reaction can spiral into full-blown impatience or rage. But here's the good news. Studies show that regular mindfulness practices, including meditation focused on patience, reduce amygdala activity and enhance connectivity between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. In other words, you become less reactive and more responsive, a hallmark of patience. This brings us to an important point. Mindfulness meditation is one of the most effective tools for cultivating patience because it directly targets these brain regions. Research conducted by Dr. Sarah Lazar at Harvard University found that participants who practiced mindfulness meditation for just 8 weeks showed measurable changes in brain structure. Specifically, they experienced increased gray matter density in areas associated with memory, learning, and emotional regulation, including the prefrontal cortex. At the same time, their amygdala shrank, suggesting reduced reactivity to stress. These structural changes weren't just temporary, they persisted long after the study ended, indicating that mindfulness has lasting effects on the brain. So, what does all this mean for you? Simply put, every time you sit down to meditate or even take a few mindful breaths, you're literally reshaping your brain to support greater patience. It's like going to the gym for your mind. Just as lifting weights strengthens your muscles, practicing patience strengthens your brain's capacity to handle life's ups and downs with equanimity. But the benefits don't stop there. Beyond changing brain structure, patience also influences the chemicals coursing through your body. Have you ever noticed how stress makes you feel physically tense? That's because stress hormones, like cortisol, flood your system, preparing your body for action. While this response was useful for our ancestors facing predators, it's not so helpful in modern situations like waiting in line or dealing with a slow internet connection. Chronic exposure to high levels of cortisol can lead to a host of problems, including anxiety, depression, insomnia, and even weakened immune function. On the flip side, patience activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation and recovery. Practices like deep breathing, visualization, and loving-kindness meditation stimulate the vagus nerve, a crucial component of the parasympathetic system. This activation lowers heart rate, reduces blood pressure, and decreases inflammation, creating a cascade of positive effects throughout the body. Essentially, patience helps shift your physiology from fight or flight mode to rest and digest mode, allowing you to recover faster from stress and maintain overall well-being. Let's take a closer look at some specific studies that highlight the physiological benefits of patience. A landmark study published in the journal Psychosomatic Medicine examined the effects of mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, on individuals with chronic pain. Participants who completed the program reported not only reduced pain symptoms but also improved emotional regulation and increased feelings of calm. Another study conducted by researchers at Stanford University focused on compassion meditation, a practice closely related to patience, and its impact on social behavior. They discovered that participants who engaged in compassion meditation showed heightened activity in brain regions associated with empathy and pro-social behavior. These findings suggest that patience doesn't just benefit us individually, it ripples outward, enhancing our relationships and communities. Now let's zoom out a bit and talk about the psychological benefits of patience. From a cognitive perspective, patience enhances focus, problem-solving skills, and creativity. Why? Because when we're patient, we give ourselves the space to think clearly and approach challenges strategically. Impatience, on the other hand, narrows our attention and clouds our judgment, making it harder to find solutions. Think about it. When you're rushing to finish a task, how often do you overlook details or make mistakes that could have been avoided with a little extra care? Patience allows us to slow down, pay attention, and engage fully with whatever we're doing. This principle applies not only to individual tasks, but also to larger goals. Many of the things we want to achieve in life, whether it's mastering a skill, building a meaningful career, or nurturing a relationship, require sustained effort over time. Patience enables us to embrace the process without becoming discouraged by setbacks or delays. It reminds us that progress is rarely linear and that perseverance pays off in the long run. From an emotional standpoint, patience fosters resilience. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we plan, things won't always go according to schedule. When we practice patience, we develop the ability to adapt to changing circumstances without losing our sense of purpose or peace. We learn to accept uncertainty and trust that everything will unfold in its own time. This mindset is incredibly empowering because it shifts our focus from external outcomes to internal growth. Instead of measuring success solely by results, we begin to value the journey itself. Another intriguing aspect of patience is its connection to happiness. Research consistently shows that people who exhibit higher levels of patience tend to report greater life satisfaction and lower levels of stress. There are several reasons for this correlation. First, patient individuals are better equipped to manage conflicts and frustrations, reducing interpersonal tension and promoting harmony. Second, patience encourages gratitude by shifting our perspective from lack to abundance. Rather than fixating on what we don't have yet, we start appreciating what we already possess. Finally, patience cultivates a sense of flow, the state of being fully immersed in an activity, which is strongly linked to happiness and fulfillment. At this point, you might be wondering, if patience offers so many benefits, why isn't everyone practicing it? The truth is, patience requires effort. Our brains are wired to prioritize immediate rewards over delayed gratification, a trait known as present bias. This tendency served our ancestors well when survival depended on quick decisions. But in today's world, it often leads to impulsive behavior and short-term thinking. Breaking free from this pattern takes conscious effort and repetition. The good news is that patience is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Every small act of patience strengthens your ability to handle bigger challenges. For example, if you can wait calmly in line at the grocery store instead of fuming about delay, you're building the foundation for handling more significant frustrations, like navigating a complex project at work or supporting a loved one through a tough time. Over time, these seemingly minor victories add up, creating a profound shift in how you relate to life's difficulties. To help you integrate this understanding into your daily life, let's try a brief exercise. Take a moment to reflect on a recent situation where you felt impatient. Perhaps it was something as simple as waiting for a web page to load, or as complex as dealing with a misunderstanding in a conversation. Now, ask yourself, what triggered my impatience? Was I expecting something to happen faster than it did? Or was I attaching too much importance to the outcome? As you ponder these questions, notice any sensations in your body. Are you holding tension in your shoulders or jaw? Is your breathing shallow or rapid? These physical cues can serve as reminders to pause and reconnect with the present moment. Try taking 3 deep breaths, inhaling slowly through your nose and exhaling gently through your mouth. With each breath, imagine releasing the urgency and embracing the stillness. Remember, patience isn't about denying your emotions or pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging your feelings fully, feeling them, observing them, and then choosing how to act. By creating space between stimulus and response, you give yourself the freedom to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Before we conclude this chapter, I want to leave you with one final insight. Patience is deeply intertwined with self-compassion. Often, our impatience stems from harsh self-criticism. We expect ourselves to perform perfectly, achieve quickly, or understand instantly. But true patience begins with kindness toward ourselves. When we treat ourselves with gentleness and understanding, we naturally extend that same compassion to others. So as you continue on this journey cultivating patience, remember to celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Every moment of calm amidst chaos, every pause before reacting impulsively, every instance of trusting the timing of your life is a victory worth honoring. And now, armed with both ancient wisdom and modern science, we're ready to move forward together. In the next chapter, we'll explore the rich teachings of Buddhism and how they illuminate the path to patience. Until then, take a deep breath and trust that you're exactly where you're meant to be. Chapter 3: The Role of Buddhism in Cultivating Patience. Welcome back to our journey together. In the previous chapters, we explored what patience truly means and uncovered the fascinating science behind it, how patience rewires our brains, calms our nervous systems, and enhances both mental and physical well-being. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the richest sources of wisdom on patience: Buddhism. Buddhism offers timeless insights into the human condition, teaching us how to navigate life's challenges with grace, compassion, and equanimity. At the heart of these teachings lies the concept of kshanti, or patience, one of the 6 perfections or paramitas that lead to enlightenment. But what does patience mean in the context of Buddhism, and how can its principles guide us in cultivating patience in our modern lives? To answer these questions, we need to understand a foundational idea in Buddhism: impermanence. In Buddhist philosophy, everything in life is transient. Nothing remains the same forever. Seasons change, relationships evolve, emotions ebb and flow. Even our thoughts and feelings are fleeting, arising and passing away like clouds in the sky. While this impermanence can feel unsettling at times, it also holds a profound truth. Life is constantly moving, and clinging to permanence only leads to suffering. This brings us to another core teaching: attachment. Much of our impatience stems from attachment to outcomes, expectations, and control. When things don't go as planned, we resist reality, creating frustration and tension within ourselves. But Buddhism reminds us that suffering arises not from external circumstances, but from our attachment to them. By practicing patience, we learn to let go of these attachments and embrace life as it unfolds, not as we wish it would. One of my favorite metaphors in Buddhism illustrates this beautifully. Imagine a river flowing steadily toward the ocean. If you try to hold back the water, you'll only exhaust yourself. But if you allow the river to flow freely, you find peace. Similarly, when we resist life's natural rhythms, its delays, uncertainties, and changes, we create unnecessary struggle. Patience teaches us to surrender to the flow, trusting that every moment has its purpose. Now, let's delve deeper into the specific role of patience, or kshanti, in Buddhist teachings. Among the 6 perfections, which include generosity, ethical conduct, perseverance, concentration, and wisdom, patience stands out as particularly transformative. Why? Because patience is the antidote to anger, hatred, and aversion. 3 poisons that cloud the mind and obstruct spiritual growth. When we cultivate patience, we dissolve these toxic emotions, making room for clarity, compassion, and joy. But patience in Buddhism isn't just about enduring hardships. It's about transforming how we relate to difficulties. Consider the story of Siddhartha Gautama, who became the Buddha after years of rigorous meditation and self-discipline. During his quest for enlightenment, he faced countless obstacles: physical pain, doubt, fear, and even temptation sent by Mara, the embodiment of delusion. Yet, through unwavering patience and determination, he remained steadfast, eventually attaining awakening under the Bodhi tree. His journey reminds us that patience isn't passive resignation. It's active engagement with life's challenges, fueled by faith and courage. Another powerful teaching comes from the Lotus Sutra, one of the most revered texts in Mahayana Buddhism. In this sutra, the parable of the burning house is told to illustrate the importance of patience and skillful means. Imagine a wealthy man whose children are playing inside a house engulfed in flames. Despite the danger, the children refuse to leave because they're too absorbed in their games. Instead of forcing them out, the father patiently devises a strategy. He promises them wonderful gifts waiting outside: a cart pulled by deer, a carriage adorned with jewels. Intrigued, the children rush out of the house, narrowly escaping the fire. This story symbolizes the compassionate patience required to guide others toward liberation. Just as the father used skillful means to save his children, we must approach life's difficulties and the people around us with understanding and creativity. Sometimes patience means waiting for the right moment to act. Other times it means finding innovative ways to address problems without causing harm. Beyond stories and metaphors, Buddhism provides practical tools for cultivating patience. One such tool is mindfulness meditation, which we touched upon earlier. In the Buddhist tradition, mindfulness isn't just about focusing on the breath. It's about observing all aspects of experience with non-judgmental awareness. When impatience arises, instead of pushing it away or suppressing it, we acknowledge its presence. We label it gently: "Ah, here is impatience." Then we investigate its qualities, its texture, weight, and energy. Through this process, we begin to see impatience not as an enemy, but as a teacher, revealing hidden patterns of resistance and attachment. Another key practice is loving kindness meditation, or metta. Loving kindness involves directing wishes of love, peace, and happiness, first toward ourselves, then toward loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even difficult people. At first glance, this may seem unrelated to patience, but it's deeply connected. When we send compassion to those who challenge us, whether it's a rude driver or critical colleague, we soften our hearts and develop greater tolerance for life's imperfections. Over time, this practice transforms our relationship with frustration, replacing it with empathy and understanding. Let's pause for a moment to reflect on how these teachings apply to your own life. Think about someone or something that frequently triggers impatience in you. Maybe it's a family member who always seems to interrupt, or perhaps it's technology that glitches at the worst possible time. Now, imagine approaching this situation with the mindset of a patient observer. Instead of reacting impulsively, you step back and ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? How can I respond with kindness rather than irritation? By framing challenges as opportunities for growth, we shift from seeing them as obstacles to viewing them as stepping stones. Each instance of impatience becomes a chance to deepen our practice, to strengthen the muscle of patience, and expand our capacity for compassion. It's important to note that patience doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior or staying silent in the face of injustice. There's a delicate balance between patience and passivity. True patience empowers us to set boundaries, communicate assertively, and advocate for ourselves and others, all while maintaining a sense of calm and compassion. It's about finding balance between standing up for what's right and not letting anger or frustration dictate our actions. For example, consider a workplace scenario where a colleague consistently misses deadlines, affecting the entire team. Reacting with impatience might lead to confrontation or resentment. However, approaching the situation with patience allows you to address the issue constructively. You might choose to have a calm conversation, expressing your concerns while remaining open to understanding their perspective. This approach not only resolves the problem more effectively, but also preserves the integrity of the relationship. Buddhism also emphasizes the interconnectedness of all beings, reminding us that our actions ripple outward, influencing the world around us. When we cultivate patience, we contribute to a culture of kindness and understanding. Our patience inspires others to respond similarly, creating a positive feedback loop that benefits everyone involved. To further illustrate this point, let's revisit the concept of impermanence. In Buddhism, recognizing impermanence fosters gratitude and acceptance. When we realize that every moment is fleeting, we start cherishing the present rather than clinging to the past or obsessing over the future. This awareness naturally cultivates patience because we stop rushing through life and begin savoring each experience, no matter how small. Consider the simple act of drinking tea. Instead of gulping it down hurriedly, you take time to appreciate its aroma, warmth, and flavor. You notice the steam rising, the sensation of the cup in your hands, the subtle notes of sweetness or bitterness. By slowing down and fully engaging with the moment, you embody patience, not as a forced effort, but as a natural expression of presence. This principle extends to larger aspects of life as well. Whether you're pursuing a goal, building a relationship, or healing from loss, patience reminds you to honor the process. Growth takes time, and rushing only disrupts the natural unfolding. Trusting the timing of your life requires faith, a willingness to believe that everything happens for a reason, even if the reasons aren't immediately clear. As we near the end of this chapter, I'd like to share a personal reflection. Early in my journey with mindfulness and meditation, I struggled tremendously with impatience. I expected quick results, wanting to fix myself overnight. But over time, I realized that patience itself was the lesson I needed to learn. Every setback, every delay, every moment of frustration carried a message. Slow down. Be gentle with yourself. Trust the path. These lessons didn't come easily. They required repeated practice and self-compassion, but they transformed my relationship with life in profound ways. If you're feeling impatient with your own progress, know that you're not alone. Growth is rarely linear, and setbacks are part of the process. What matters most is your intention, the sincere desire to cultivate patience and live with greater ease and joy. With each small step, you move closer to embodying the wisdom of Buddhism, embracing impermanence, releasing attachment, and meeting life with an open heart. Before we conclude this chapter, let's return to the metaphor of the mountain. A mountain stands tall and steady regardless of the weather around it. Rain falls, winds howl, snow blankets its peaks, but the mountain remains unchanged. In the same way, patience allows us to stand firm amidst life's storms, staying rooted in our inner peace no matter what happens externally. And now, armed with the timeless teachings of Buddhism, we're ready to move forward together. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to identify and work with your triggers, the moments that test your patience most intensely. Until then, take a deep breath and remember, you are already enough, exactly as you are. Chapter 4. Understanding your triggers. Welcome back to our journey together. In the previous chapters, we explored what patience truly means, delved into the science behind it, and uncovered the profound wisdom of Buddhism in cultivating this transformative quality. Now let's turn our attention inward to those moments when patience feels hardest to access. What sets off your impatience? What pushes your buttons and makes you feel frustrated, tense, or overwhelmed? These are your triggers, and understanding them is key to deepening your practice of patience. But first, let's define what we mean by triggers. A trigger is any external event, situation or person, or even an internal thought or emotion that sparks a strong reaction within us. It could be something as mundane as waiting in line at the grocery store, or as complex as navigating a disagreement with a loved one. Triggers activate deeply ingrained patterns of behavior, often rooted in past experiences, fears, or unmet needs. When triggered, we may find ourselves reacting impulsively, snapping at someone, feeling a surge of anger, or withdrawing emotionally. The challenge with triggers is that they bypass our rational mind and tap directly into our emotional core. Before we even realize what's happening, we're caught in a whirlwind of frustration or irritation. But here's the empowering truth. By becoming aware of our triggers, we gain the ability to respond consciously rather than react automatically. This awareness is the gateway to greater patience and emotional resilience. To begin, let's reflect on why certain situations trigger us more than others. Often it comes down to expectations, our assumptions about how things should unfold. For example, if you expect traffic to flow smoothly but encounter unexpected delays, you might feel irritated because reality doesn't align with your mental picture. Similarly, if you anticipate a colleague responding promptly to an email but they don't, you might interpret their delay as disrespectful, triggering feelings of frustration. These expectations aren't inherently bad. They help us navigate life and set goals, but they can become problematic when they're rigid or unrealistic. Life rarely adheres perfectly to our plans, and clinging too tightly to specific outcomes sets us up for disappointment. Patience invites us to loosen our grip, embracing uncertainty and trusting that everything will unfold in its own time. Now let's take a closer look at some common categories of triggers. While everyone's triggers are unique, there are certain themes that tend to arise universally. Here are a few examples. Time-based triggers. These occur when events don't happen as quickly as we'd like. Think about being stuck in traffic, waiting for a delayed flight, or dealing with slow internet. Time-based triggers tap into our desire for efficiency and control, making us feel powerless when things move slower than expected. Communication triggers. Misunderstandings, interruptions, or perceived rudeness can spark intense reactions. For instance, if someone cuts you off mid-sentence or sends a curt text message, you might feel disrespected or dismissed. Communication triggers highlight the importance of clear, compassionate interaction and the need for patience when miscommunication occurs. Environmental triggers. Noisy neighbors, cluttered spaces, or uncomfortable temperatures can irritate us, especially if we're already stressed or tired. Environmental triggers remind us of the impact our surroundings have on our mood and well-being. Emotional triggers. Sometimes other people's emotions trigger us. If a friend expresses frustration or sadness, you might feel overwhelmed or defensive, particularly if their emotions mirror unresolved feelings within yourself. Emotional triggers reveal the interconnectedness of human experience and the value of empathy. Self-imposed triggers. These stem from our own inner critic, the voice that tells us we're not doing enough, achieving fast enough, or living up to expectations. Self-imposed triggers are insidious because they attack our sense of self-worth, fueling impatience and dissatisfaction. Take a moment now to reflect on your own triggers. Can you recall a recent situation where you felt impatient? Was it related to time, communication, environment, emotions, or self-criticism? Notice what thoughts, sensations, and emotions arose during that moment. Did your heart race? Did your jaw tighten? Did you replay the scenario in your mind, imagining different outcomes? These physical and mental responses are clues. They show you where your resistance lies. Understanding your triggers is only the first step. The next step is learning how to work with them skillfully. One powerful approach comes from mindfulness, observing your triggers without judgment. Instead of labeling them as bad or trying to suppress them, you acknowledge their presence and investigate their qualities. Ask yourself, what does this trigger feel like in my body? Where do I notice tension or discomfort? What story am I telling myself about this situation? For example, imagine you're standing in a long line at the bank. Your initial reaction might be irritation. Why does this always happen to me? But instead of indulging that thought, you paused and observe. You noticed tightness in your chest and a racing heartbeat. You recognize the narrative running through your mind. I don't have time for this. Then you gently redirect your attention to the present moment. You focus on your breath, feeling the rise and fall of your abdomen. You notice the sensation of your feet on the ground, grounding you in the here and now. This process of mindful observation creates space between stimulus and response. Instead of reacting impulsively, you give yourself the freedom to choose how to act. Maybe you decide to use the wait as an opportunity to practice gratitude for the roof over your head, the food in your pantry, or the simple fact that you're alive and breathing. Or perhaps you strike up a friendly conversation with the person next to you, transforming a potentially frustrating moment into a meaningful connection. Another tool for working with triggers is reframing. Reframing involves shifting your perspective on a situation, looking for the hidden lesson or silver lining. For instance, if you're stuck in traffic, instead of focusing on the delay, you might appreciate the chance to listen to music, enjoy the scenery, or simply rest your mind. If a project takes longer than anticipated, you might view it as an opportunity to refine your skills or deepen your dedication. Reframing doesn't deny the difficulty of the situation, it simply broadens your lens, helping you see beyond immediate frustration. Let's explore a practical exercise to help you reframe your triggers. Close your eyes if you'd like, or soften your gaze. Bring to mind a recent trigger, a situation that made you feel impatient. Now ask yourself, what was I expecting to happen differently? How did reality diverge from my expectations? Once you've identified the gap between expectation and reality, consider how you might reinterpret the situation. Is there a way to view it as neutral or even positive rather than negative? What did this experience teach you about yourself, others, or life itself? By practicing reframing regularly, you train your mind to seek solutions rather than dwell on problems. Over time, this shift in mindset reduces reactivity and fosters greater patience. Of course, not all triggers are easy to reframe. Some are deeply rooted in past trauma or unresolved emotions. If you find yourself consistently triggered by certain people or situations, it may be helpful to explore these patterns further with the support of a therapist, counselor, or trusted guide. Healing old wounds allows you to approach life with greater clarity and compassion, reducing the intensity of your triggers over time. One aspect of triggers that's often overlooked is their connection to self-care. When we're physically exhausted, emotionally drained, or mentally overwhelmed, our tolerance for frustration plummets. We become more reactive, less resilient, and quicker to snap. Prioritizing self-care, getting enough sleep, eating nourishing foods, exercising regularly, and setting healthy boundaries is essential for maintaining emotional balance and cultivating patience. Think of self-care as building a reservoir of calm within yourself. The fuller your reservoir, the better equipped you are to handle life's challenges without tipping into impatience. On days when you feel particularly irritable or short-tempered, ask yourself, am I taking care of my basic needs? Am I giving myself permission to rest and recharge? Sometimes addressing these foundational aspects can make a world of difference. Another important consideration is the role of mindfulness in managing triggers. Mindfulness isn't just about observing your thoughts and emotions, it's also about cultivating curiosity and kindness toward yourself. When you're triggered, it's tempting to judge yourself harshly. Why can't I stay calm? Why do I keep reacting this way? But self-judgment only compounds the problem, adding layers of shame and guilt to an already challenging situation. Instead, try treating yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a dear friend. Imagine sitting across from someone you love who's struggling with impatience. Would you berate them for their reaction, or would you listen with empathy and understanding? Extend that same gentleness to yourself. Remind yourself that triggers are part of being human. They're opportunities for growth, not failures to be ashamed of. To reinforce this practice, let's revisit a metaphor we introduced earlier, the mountain. Just as a mountain remains steady amidst changing weather, so too can you cultivate steadfastness in the face of triggers. Every time you notice yourself reacting impulsively, imagine pausing and reconnecting with your inner stillness. Feel the weight of your body supported by the earth beneath you. Breathe deeply, allowing each inhale to fill you with calm and each exhale to release tension. With practice, this imagery becomes second nature, anchoring you in patience no matter what arises. As we conclude this chapter, I want to leave you with one final reflection. Triggers are teachers. They show us where we're holding on to resistance, attachment, or fear. By leaning into these moments with curiosity and compassion, we uncover hidden parts of ourselves and create space for transformation. Each trigger is an invitation to grow, to deepen your practice of patience, strengthen your emotional resilience, and expand your capacity for joy. And now, armed with a deeper understanding of your triggers, we're ready to move forward together. In the next chapter, we'll explore guided practices designed to help you embody patience in action. Until then, take a deep breath and trust that every moment holds the potential for growth. Chapter 5. Grounding yourself in the present moment. Welcome back to our journey together. In the previous chapters, we've explored what patience truly means, uncovered the science behind it, delved into Buddhist teachings, and identified the triggers that test our patience. Now let's turn our attention to one of the most powerful tools for cultivating patience, grounding yourself in the present moment. The present moment is often described as the only time we truly have. Yet, how often do we find ourselves lost in thoughts about the past or worries about the future? We replay conversations, regret decisions, or anxiously anticipate what's to come, all while missing the richness of the here and now. This disconnection from the present creates fertile ground for impatience, frustration, and stress. When we're not fully present, we react impulsively to external events, rather than responding thoughtfully. Grounding yourself in the present moment is like planting roots deep into the earth. It stabilizes you no matter how turbulent life becomes. By anchoring your awareness in the here and now, you create space between stimulus and response, the very essence of patience. You stop being swept away by emotions and instead meet each moment with clarity and calm. So how do we cultivate this sense of presence? How do we train ourselves to stay grounded when distractions pull us in countless directions? The answer lies in mindfulness practices, simple yet profound techniques that reconnect us with the present moment. Today we'll explore several methods for grounding yourself, including breath awareness, body scans, sensory engagement, and visualization exercises. Each of these tools serves as an anchor, helping you return to the present whenever you feel adrift. Let's begin with the most accessible tool of all, your breath. The breath is always with you, available at any moment, requiring no special equipment or preparation. Yet, despite its simplicity, focusing on the breath can transform your state of mind. Why? Because the breath bridges the gap between body and mind. When you pay attention to your breathing, you naturally slow down, calming both your nervous system and your racing thoughts. To practice breath awareness, find a comfortable position, sitting upright, lying down, or even standing if that feels best for you. Close your eyes if you'd like, or keep them softly open. Begin by noticing the natural rhythm of your breath and try to change it. Simply observe it. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils as you inhale and the warm air leaving as you exhale. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. If your mind wanders, and it will, that's perfectly okay. Gently bring your focus back to the breath without judgment. As you continue this practice, you may notice subtle shifts in your body and mind. Your muscles might relax, your heartbeat may steady, and your thoughts could quiet down. These changes are signs that you're becoming more grounded in the present moment. Over time, breath awareness becomes second nature, allowing you to access a sense of calm anytime, anywhere. Now let's expand this practice with a full body scan, a technique that invites you to connect deeply with your physical sensations. The body scan is especially helpful for releasing tension and fostering mindfulness. To begin, settle into a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, feeling your body supported by the surface beneath you. Start at the top of your head and slowly move downward, paying attention to each part of your body as you go. Notice any areas of tightness, warmth, tingling, or relaxation. If you encounter discomfort, don't resist it. Simply acknowledge it and breathe into it. Imagine sending your breath to those tense spots, softening them with each exhale. Continue this process until you reach your toes. The beauty of the body scan lies in its ability to ground you in the physical reality of the present moment. Often when we're stressed or impatient, we dissociate from our bodies, retreating into our minds. The body scan reverses this pattern, bringing you back to the tangible experience of being alive. It reminds you that no matter what's happening externally, your body is always here, offering stability and support. Another powerful method for grounding yourself is engaging your senses. Our 5 senses, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, are direct pathways to the present moment. By tuning into sensory experiences, we anchor ourselves in what's real and immediate, rather than getting lost in abstract thoughts. Let's try a simple exercise called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Take a moment to pause wherever you are right now. Look around and identify 5 things you can see. They could be objects, colors, patterns, anything that catches your eye. Next, listen carefully and name 4 sounds you hear. These might include distant traffic, birdsong, or the hum of appliances. Then notice 3 textures you can feel. Perhaps it's the fabric of your clothing, the smooth surface of a table, or the warmth of sunlight on your skin. After that, identify 2 scents you detect. Maybe it's the aroma of coffee brewing or the freshness of outdoor air. Finally, name 1 thing you can taste. If nothing comes to mind, imagine savoring something delicious, like a piece of chocolate or a sip of tea. This exercise not only grounds you in the present, but also activates multiple parts of your brain, enhancing focus and reducing anxiety. Use it whenever you need a quick reset, a way to reconnect with the world around you. Visualization exercises offer another avenue for grounding yourself in the present moment. One particularly effective visualization involves imagining a tree. Picture yourself as a mighty oak, with roots extending deep into the earth. Feel those roots anchoring you firmly, providing stability and nourishment. As you breathe in, imagine drawing energy up from the soil through your roots. As you breathe out, visualize releasing tension and stress into the ground. With each cycle of breath, you grow stronger and steadier, embodying the qualities of patience and resilience. This tree metaphor is especially fitting because it mirrors the concept of grounding. Just as trees need strong roots to withstand storms, so too do we require a solid foundation to navigate life's challenges. Visualization helps reinforce this connection, making it easier to access during difficult moments. In addition to these formal practices, there are countless informal ways to stay grounded throughout your day. For example, you can use everyday activities as opportunities for mindfulness. Washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or walking to work can all become anchors in the present moment if approached with intention. Instead of rushing through these tasks, slow down and engage fully with them. Notice the sensation of water in your hands, the rhythm of your footsteps, or the taste of toothpaste. By infusing ordinary actions with awareness, you transform them into acts of meditation. Journaling is another valuable tool for grounding yourself. Writing allows you to process emotions, clarify thoughts, and reconnect with your inner wisdom. Set aside a few minutes each day to jot down your reflections. You might write about moments when you felt grounded, or conversely, times when you struggled to stay present. Describe what helped you regain balance, whether it was a specific practice, a supportive conversation, or simply a shift in perspective. Journaling not only strengthens your self-awareness, but also provides a record of your progress over time. It's important to note that grounding yourself in the present isn't about ignoring problems or avoiding difficult emotions. On the contrary, it's about facing them with courage and compassion. When you're fully present, you're better equipped to handle challenges effectively. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding thoughtfully. Patience emerges naturally from this place of presence, enabling you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. To deepen your understanding of grounding, let's reflect on a common misconception that staying present requires constant effort. While it's true that mindfulness takes practice, it doesn't mean you must remain hyper-focused every second of the day. In fact, striving for perfection can lead to frustration and burnout. Instead, view mindfulness as a fluid process, a gentle dance between awareness and letting go. There will be moments when you drift away from the present, and that's okay. What matters is your willingness to return again and again to the here and now. Think of mindfulness as tending a garden. Some days the flowers bloom beautifully, other days weeds creep in. But the act of caring for the garden, watering, pruning, nurturing, is what sustains it over time. Similarly, your consistent effort to ground yourself in the present creates fertile soil for patience and peace to flourish. Before we conclude this chapter, let's revisit the metaphor of the mountain. A mountain stands tall and steady regardless of the weather around it. Rain falls, winds howl, snow blankets its peaks, but the mountain remains unchanged. In the same way, grounding yourself in the present moment allows you to stand firm amidst life's storms, staying rooted in your inner peace no matter what happens externally. And now, armed with these tools for grounding yourself, we're ready to move forward together. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to observe impatience without judgment, a crucial step in transforming frustration into understanding. Until then, take a deep breath. And remember, the present moment is your sanctuary, your anchor, your home. Chapter 6. Observing impatience without judgment. Welcome back to our journey together. In the previous chapters, we've explored the foundations of patience, what it truly means, the science behind it, the wisdom of Buddhism, and practical tools for grounding yourself in the present moment. Now let's delve into one of the most transformative practices for cultivating patience, observing impatience without judgment. This may sound counterintuitive at first. After all, isn't the goal to eliminate impatience altogether? To never feel frustrated, irritated, or restless again? While that aspiration is noble, it's also unrealistic and perhaps even unhelpful. Impatience is a natural part of being human. It arises when our expectations clash with reality, when our needs aren't met quickly enough, or when life feels unpredictable. Rather than resisting impatience, we can learn to observe it with curiosity and kindness. By doing so, we transform it from an adversary into a teacher, a guide that reveals hidden patterns and offers opportunities for growth. To begin, let's redefine how we view impatience. Instead of labeling it as bad or wrong, we can see it as a signal, an emotional alarm bell alerting us to something deeper within ourselves. When impatience arises, it's often pointing to unmet needs, unresolved fears, or areas where we're holding on to resistance. By approaching impatience with mindfulness, we can decode its message and address the root cause rather than merely suppressing the symptom. But how do we observe impatience without judgment? The key lies in shifting our relationship with it. Instead of pushing it away or criticizing ourselves for feeling impatient, we invite it in. We say, "Hello, impatience, I see you. What are you trying to tell me?" This attitude of openness creates space for understanding and compassion, allowing us to respond skillfully rather than react impulsively. Let's break this process down step by step. The first step is awareness, simply noticing when impatience arises. Often we're so caught up in the emotion itself that we don't realize we're experiencing it until after the fact. For example, you might snap at someone during a disagreement or feel your heart race while waiting in line, only to reflect later, wow, I was really impatient there. Awareness interrupts this cycle by bringing conscious attention to the moment impatience begins. One way to cultivate awareness is through body scanning. As we discussed in the previous chapter, tuning into physical sensations helps ground us in the present moment. It also serves as an early warning system for impatience. Pay attention to subtle signs in your body: tension in your jaw, tightness in your chest, a racing heartbeat, shallow breathing. These sensations are red flags signaling that impatience is brewing. By catching it early, you give yourself the opportunity to intervene before it escalates. Once you've noticed impatience, the next step is acknowledgement. Acknowledgement means naming the emotion without attaching any labels or stories to it. You might silently say to yourself, "This is impatience. I'm feeling impatient right now." There's no need to analyze why it's happening or judge yourself for it. Just acknowledge its presence. This simple act of recognition disarms impatience, taking away its power to control you. After acknowledgement comes investigation, the process of exploring impatience with curiosity. Ask yourself, what does this impatience feel like in my body? Where do I notice tension or discomfort? What thoughts are accompanying this emotion? Am I replaying certain scenarios in my mind or clinging to specific outcomes? By investigating these questions, you gain insight into the mechanics of impatience. You start to see it not as a monolithic force, but as a collection of sensations, thoughts, and emotions that you can work with individually. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic and feeling increasingly frustrated. You notice your shoulders tensing and your fists clenching around the steering wheel. Instead of succumbing to irritation, you pause and investigate. You ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is it because I'm late for an appointment, or is there something else beneath the surface? Perhaps you realize that your impatience stems from a deeper fear of being judged for arriving late, or maybe it's tied to a desire for control over your schedule. By uncovering these layers, you begin to address the root cause rather than simply reacting to the surface level emotion. The final step in observing impatience without judgment is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean resigning yourself to impatience or giving up on change. It means embracing the reality of the moment as it is, not as you wish it could be. When you accept impatience, you stop fighting against it, which paradoxically weakens its grip on you. You allow it to exist without resistance, trusting that it will pass in its own time. To illustrate this point, let's return to the metaphor of the river. Imagine standing beside a fast-flowing stream. If you try to hold back the water, you'll exhaust yourself and disrupt the flow. But if you let the water move freely, it carries you effortlessly forward. Similarly, when you resist impatience, you amplify its intensity. But when you accept it, you create space for calm and clarity to emerge. Acceptance is closely tied to self-compassion. One of the biggest obstacles to observing impatience without judgment is our tendency to criticize ourselves for feeling it in the first place. We think, I shouldn't be impatient, I should know better by now. But self-criticism only fuels shame and guilt, making it harder to stay present. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Remind yourself that impatience is part of being human. It's not a reflection of your worth or character. A helpful exercise for cultivating self-compassion is the loving kindness towards self practice. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and imagine wrapping yourself in warmth and care. Silently repeat phrases like, may I be patient, may I be kind to myself, may I find peace in this moment. Feel the sincerity of these wishes permeating your heart. Over time, this practice softens your inner critic and strengthens your capacity for self-acceptance. Now let's consider some common misconceptions about observing impatience without judgment. One misconception is that it leads to passivity, that by accepting impatience, we're condoning harmful behavior or tolerating injustice. This couldn't be further from the truth. Observing impatience without judgment empowers us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It gives us the clarity to set boundaries, communicate assertively, and advocate for ourselves and others, all while maintaining a sense of calm and compassion. Another misconception is that observing impatience requires hours of meditation or intense focus. While formal mindfulness practices are valuable, they're not the only way to observe impatience. Informal practices like pausing to breathe deeply during a stressful moment or reframing a frustrating situation can be equally effective. The key is consistency, not perfection. Every small act of mindful observation strengthens your ability to handle impatience skillfully. To deepen your practice, let's explore a guided visualization exercise designed to help you observe impatience without judgment. Find a comfortable position, sitting upright, lying down, or even standing if that feels best for you. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, feeling your body supported by the surface beneath you. Now, bring to mind a recent situation where impatience arose. It could be something minor, like waiting for a slow internet connection, or something more significant, like dealing with a miscommunication in a relationship. Replay the scenario in your mind, paying close attention to the details. Notice what triggered your impatience. Was it a delay, a misunderstanding, or something else entirely? As you revisit the situation, tune into your body. Where do you feel tension or discomfort? Is your jaw clenched, your stomach tight, or your breathing shallow? Acknowledge these sensations without trying to change them. Simply observe them, saying to yourself, "This is what impatience feels like in my body." Next, shift your attention to your thoughts. What stories are running through your mind? Are you blaming someone else, criticizing yourself, or catastrophizing about the future? Again, observe these thoughts without judgment. They're just mental events, clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. Finally, check in with your emotions. How do you feel in this moment? Frustrated, irritated, overwhelmed? Name the emotion clearly, without attaching any labels or evaluations. Then imagine placing your hand over your heart, offering yourself compassion. Silently say, "It's okay to feel this way. I'm here for myself." Take a few more deep breaths, feeling the steadiness of your body and the rhythm of your breath. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and return to the present moment. This exercise illustrates the power of observing impatience without judgment. By approaching it with curiosity and compassion, you transform it from an obstacle into an opportunity for growth. Each time you practice this technique, you strengthen your ability to stay grounded and patient, even in challenging situations. Before we conclude this chapter, let's reflect on the broader implications of observing impatience without judgment. When we relate to impatience in this way, we not only cultivate greater patience within ourselves, but also contribute to a culture of empathy and understanding. Our patience inspires others to respond similarly, creating a ripple effect that benefits everyone involved. Think of a workplace environment where colleagues consistently observe their impatience without judgment. Instead of snapping at each other during high-pressure projects, they pause, breathe, and communicate openly. Conflicts dissolve more easily, collaboration improves, and trust deepens. The same principle applies to personal relationships. When we approach impatience with mindfulness and compassion, we foster deeper connections and mutual respect. And now, armed with the tools to observe impatience without judgment, we're ready to move forward together. In the next chapter, we'll explore loving-kindness meditation, a practice that extends patience and compassion beyond ourselves to include others. Until then, take a deep breath and remember, impatience is not the enemy, it's a teacher, guiding you toward greater awareness and peace. Chapter 7, Loving-Kindness Meditation. Welcome back to our journey together. In the previous chapters, we explored the foundations of patience, what it truly means, the science behind it, Buddhist teachings, grounding techniques, and how to observe impatience without judgment. Now let's turn our attention to one of the most transformative practices for cultivating patience, loving-kindness meditation, also known as metta Loving-kindness meditation is a cornerstone of mindfulness and Buddhist practice. It involves directing wishes of love, peace, and happiness, first toward ourselves, then expanding outward to include loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even those who challenge us. At its core, loving-kindness is about softening the heart, opening ourselves to feelings of warmth, care, and connection. And when we practice loving-kindness consistently, we naturally develop greater patience, empathy, and resilience. But why is loving-kindness so closely tied to patience? To understand this, we need to recognize that impatience often stems from a lack of compassion for ourselves, for others, or for the situation at hand. When we're impatient, we're essentially saying, "This moment isn't good enough, I want things to be different." Loving-kindness flips this mindset on its head. Instead of resisting reality, it invites us to embrace it fully, with kindness and understanding. By sending love and goodwill to all beings, including ourselves, we create a sense of spaciousness and ease that makes room for patience to flourish. Let's begin by exploring the origins of loving-kindness meditation. In Buddhist tradition, metta is considered one of the 4 divine abodes, or Brahma Viharas, alongside compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. These qualities are seen as the highest states of mind, a reflection of our true nature when we transcend fear, anger, and attachment. Loving-kindness specifically addresses the root causes of suffering, hatred, ill will, and aversion. When we cultivate metta, we dissolve these toxic emotions, replacing them with unconditional love and acceptance. The beauty of loving-kindness meditation lies in its simplicity. Unlike other forms of meditation that require intense focus or visualization, metta is accessible to everyone, regardless of experience level. All you need is a willingness to open your heart and extend goodwill to yourself and others. Over time, this practice becomes a refuge, a place where you can return whenever life feels overwhelming or chaotic. Now, let's dive deeper into the mechanics of loving-kindness meditation. The practice typically follows a structured format, beginning with yourself and gradually expanding outward. Here's how it works. Start with yourself. The foundation of loving-kindness meditation is self-compassion. Many people struggle with this step because they're accustomed to being hard on themselves. But think about it. How can you offer genuine love and kindness to others if you haven't first extended it to yourself? Begin by silently repeating phrases like, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease." Allow these words to sink deeply into your heart. Feel their resonance, not just as abstract ideas, but as sincere wishes for your own well-being. If resistance arises, acknowledge it gently and continue. Self-compassion takes practice, but every effort counts. Move to loved ones. Once you've established a sense of warmth toward yourself, shift your focus to someone you care about deeply, a family member, friend, mentor, or pet. Picture them in your mind, imagining their face, voice, or presence. Then direct the same phrases of loving kindness toward them. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. As you repeat these phrases, notice how your heart expands. Feel the joy of wishing someone else well, knowing that your intentions contribute to their happiness, even if indirectly. Include neutral people. Next, bring to mind someone you encounter regularly but don't have strong feelings for: neighbor, co-worker, cashier, or bus driver. These individuals may not play a central role in your life, but they deserve kindness nonetheless. Extend the same wishes to them. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. This step helps break down barriers between us and them, fostering a sense of interconnectedness. Challenge yourself with difficult people. One of the most profound aspects of loving-kindness meditation is extending goodwill to those who challenge us, whether it's a critical colleague, an ex-partner, or someone whose actions hurt us deeply. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, Rather, it's about releasing resentment and choosing compassion instead. Visualize this person and say, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease." Be patient with yourself during this step. It's often the hardest part of the practice. Start small, perhaps focusing on someone who mildly irritates you before working up to more challenging relationships. Over time, you'll find that sending love to difficult people softens your heart and reduces reactivity. Expand to all beings. Finally, broaden your scope to include all living beings, humans, animals, plants, and ecosystems. Imagine your wishes radiating outward like ripples in a pond, touching every corner of the world. Repeat, "May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease." This universal expression of love reminds us of our shared humanity and interconnectedness. It fosters a sense of global responsibility and peace. While the structure of loving-kindness meditation is straightforward, its effects are profound. Research shows that regular practice increases positive emotions, reduces stress, enhances social connection, and promotes overall well-being. One study conducted at Stanford University found that participants who engaged in loving-kindness meditation reported higher levels of happiness and lower levels of depression and anxiety. Another study demonstrated that the practice activates brain regions associated with empathy and emotional regulation, reinforcing its transformative power. To deepen your understanding of loving-kindness meditation, let's explore some common challenges and misconceptions. One challenge is feeling insincere when repeating the phrases. You might think, "How can I genuinely wish happiness for someone who's caused me pain?" Or, "Do these words really make a difference?" Remember, the goal isn't to force yourself to feel a certain way. It's to plant seeds of kindness in your heart. Even if the emotions don't arise immediately, the act of setting an intention creates change over time. Trust the process and allow the practice to unfold naturally. Another misconception is that loving-kindness meditation requires hours of dedicated practice. While longer sessions can be beneficial, even 5 minutes a day can yield significant results. Consistency matters more than duration. Incorporate metta into your daily routine, perhaps upon waking, during a lunch break, or before bed. Over time, you'll notice subtle shifts in your mindset and interactions with others. To help you get started, let's walk through a guided loving-kindness meditation. Find a comfortable position, sitting upright, lying down, or even standing if that feels best for you. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, feeling your body supported by the surface beneath you. Begin by placing your hand over your heart, connecting with your own inner goodness. Silently repeat the following phrases, allowing each word to resonate deeply. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Feel the sincerity of these wishes permeating your heart. If resistance arises, acknowledge it gently and continue. Next, bring to mind someone you love dearly. Picture their face, smile, or presence. Direct the same phrases toward them. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Notice how your heart expands with warmth and gratitude. Now shift your focus to a neutral person, someone you encounter regularly but don't have strong feelings for. Extend the same wishes to them. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Finally, challenge yourself by visualizing someone who challenges you. It could be someone mildly irritating or deeply hurtful. Offer them the same phrases, trusting that compassion has the power to heal. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Conclude by expanding your wishes to all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. Take a few more deep breaths, feeling the steadiness of your body and the rhythm of your heart. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and return to the present moment. This guided practice illustrates the transformative potential of loving-kindness meditation. By opening your heart to yourself and others, you cultivate patience, compassion, and resilience. Each time you engage in this practice, you strengthen your capacity to meet life's challenges with grace and understanding. Before we conclude this chapter, let's reflect on the broader implications of loving-kindness meditation. When we practice metta consistently, we not only transform ourselves but also contribute to a culture of empathy and connection. Our patience inspires others to respond similarly, creating a ripple effect that benefits everyone involved. Think of a community where individuals regularly practice loving-kindness meditation. Conflicts dissolve more easily, collaboration improves, and trust deepens. The same principle applies to personal relationships. When we approach others with mindfulness and compassion, we foster deeper connections and mutual respect. And now, armed with the tools of loving-kindness meditation, we're ready to move forward together. In the next chapter, we'll explore embracing imperfection, a crucial step in letting go of unrealistic expectations and finding peace in life's messiness. Until then, take a deep breath and remember, your heart is vast enough to hold love for all beings, including yourself. Chapter 8. Embracing Imperfection. Welcome back to our journey together. In the previous chapters, we've explored the foundations of patience, what it truly means, the science behind it, Buddhist teachings, grounding techniques, observing impatience without judgment, and loving-kindness meditation. Now let's turn our attention to one of the most liberating practices for cultivating patience, embracing imperfection. In a world that often celebrates perfection, perfect bodies, perfect careers, perfect relationships, it can feel daunting to admit that life is inherently messy. But here's the truth. Perfection is an illusion. It's an unattainable ideal that sets us up for frustration, disappointment, and self-criticism. By contrast, embracing imperfection frees us from these unrealistic expectations, allowing us to meet life with greater ease, joy, and patience. To begin, let's redefine what imperfection means. Rather than viewing it as a flaw or failure, we can see imperfection as a reflection of life's beauty and complexity. Think about nature. Trees don't grow in straight lines, rivers don't flow in perfect curves, and clouds aren't symmetrical. Yet these imperfections are what make them breathtakingly unique. The same principle applies to human beings. Our quirks, struggles, and scars tell the story of who we are, and they're integral to our growth and transformation. One of the most profound teachings on imperfection comes from Buddhism. The concept of wabi-sabi. Originating in Japanese aesthetics, wabi-sabi celebrates the beauty of impermanence, simplicity, and incompleteness. It invites us to find value in the imperfect, the transient, and the humble. For example, consider a teacup with a crack. Instead of discarding it as flawed, artisans might repair it using gold lacquer, highlighting the break as part of its history. This practice, known as kintsugi, transforms damage into art, a metaphor for how we can embrace our own imperfections and emerge stronger. Now let's connect this idea to patience. When we cling to perfectionism, we resist reality. We expect every moment to unfold seamlessly, every person to behave predictably, and every outcome to align with our desires. But life rarely works that way. Challenges arise, plans go awry, and people disappoint us, all of which test our ability to stay calm and centered. Embracing imperfection softens this resistance, teaching us to flow with life's unpredictability rather than fighting against it. So, how do we cultivate this mindset? How do we learn to embrace imperfection without falling into resignation or apathy? The answer lies in reframing our relationship with flaws, both external and internal. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, we view them as opportunities for growth and connection. Let's start with self-imperfection. Many of us struggle with self-criticism, holding ourselves to impossibly high standards. We berate ourselves for making mistakes, judge our appearance harshly, or compare ourselves unfavorably to others. This relentless pursuit of perfection creates immense stress and erodes our sense of worthiness. To break free from this cycle, we must practice radical self-acceptance, the conscious decision to embrace ourselves exactly as we are, flaws and all. Radical self-acceptance doesn't mean ignoring areas where we'd like to improve. It means acknowledging our humanity, recognizing that everyone makes mistakes and has weaknesses. When you catch yourself criticizing your imperfections, pause and ask, would I speak this way to a dear friend? If the answer is no, then offer yourself the same kindness and compassion. Remind yourself that your worth isn't tied to productivity, achievement, or external validation. You are enough just as you are. To deepen this practice, let's explore a visualization exercise inspired by Kintsugi. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and imagine yourself as a piece of pottery. Perhaps you're a bowl, a vase, or a plate. Now notice any cracks or chips in your surface. These represent the challenges, failures, or wounds you've experienced in life. Instead of hiding these imperfections, visualize filling them with golden light. See each crack glowing brightly, symbolizing your strength and resilience. As you continue this visualization, remind yourself that these cracks don't diminish your value. They enhance it. They show that you've weathered storms and emerged stronger. Feel gratitude for the lessons they've taught you and the depth they've added to your character. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and return to the present moment. Now let's expand this practice to include imperfections in others and the world around us. Just as we hold ourselves to unrealistic standards, we often expect others to behave perfectly, or at least in ways that align with our preferences. But when someone falls short, whether it's a co-worker missing a deadline, a friend cancelling plans, or a stranger cutting us off in traffic, we react with frustration or disappointment. Embracing imperfection helps us release these rigid expectations, fostering greater empathy and understanding. One powerful tool for embracing imperfection in others is practicing unconditional positive regard, a term coined by psychologist Carl Rogers. Unconditional positive regard means offering acceptance and support regardless of someone's actions or behavior. It doesn't mean condoning harmful actions, rather, it's about recognizing the inherent worth of every individual, even when they stumble. When we approach others with this mindset, we reduce reactivity and increase compassion. For example, imagine encountering a rude cashier at the grocery store. Your initial reaction might be irritation. Why is this person being so short with me? But instead of indulging that thought, pause and consider their perspective. Maybe they're having a tough day dealing with personal issues, or simply overwhelmed by the demands of their job. By extending unconditional positive regard, you soften your response, choosing patience over judgment. This shift in perspective not only benefits others but also enhances your own well-being. Studies show that practicing empathy and forgiveness reduces stress, improves mood, and strengthens relationships. Over time, embracing imperfection becomes a habit, a lens through which you view the world with greater warmth and openness. Another aspect of embracing imperfection is letting go of control. Many of us try to micromanage every detail of our lives, believing that if we plan carefully enough, nothing will go wrong. But life is inherently unpredictable, and clinging to control only amplifies anxiety. Instead, we can adopt a mindset of surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in trusting that everything will unfold as it should. To illustrate this point, let's revisit the metaphor of the river. Imagine standing beside a winding stream, watching the water carve its path through rocks and soil. You could try to redirect the flow, forcing it into a straight line, but doing so would disrupt the ecosystem and waste your energy. Or you could step back and marvel at the river's natural course, appreciating its twists and turns. Similarly, when we surrender to life's imperfections, we conserve our energy and create space for unexpected blessings. Surrendering to imperfection also involves reframing setbacks as opportunities for growth. Every challenge carries a hidden lesson, a chance to develop new skills, deepen your resilience, or gain fresh insights. For instance, if a project doesn't turn out as planned, instead of labeling it a failure, ask yourself, what did I learn from this experience? How can I apply this knowledge moving forward? This mindset transforms frustration into curiosity, empowering you to navigate difficulties with patience and grace. To reinforce this practice, let's explore a journaling exercise designed to help you embrace imperfection. Set aside a few minutes each day to reflect on moments when things didn't go according to plan. Write down what happened, how you initially reacted, and what insights emerged afterward. Then, reframe the situation positively, focusing on the silver linings or lessons learned. Over time, this exercise trains your mind to seek solutions rather than dwell on problems, reducing impatience and increasing optimism. Before we conclude this chapter, let's address some common misconceptions about embracing imperfection. One misconception is that it leads to complacency, that by accepting flaws, we stop striving for improvement. This couldn't be further from the truth. Embracing imperfection doesn't mean settling for mediocrity. It means pursuing excellence from a place of love and authenticity rather than fear and comparison. When we release the pressure to be perfect, we unlock our creativity, passion, and potential. Another misconception is that embracing imperfection requires constant positivity, that we must always see the bright side of every situation. While optimism is valuable, it's equally important to honor our emotions, including sadness, anger, and frustration. True acceptance means acknowledging the full spectrum of human experience, knowing that imperfection includes both light and shadow. Finally, let's reflect on the broader implications of embracing imperfection. When we relate to ourselves, others, and the world with patience and acceptance, we contribute to a culture of empathy and inclusivity. Our willingness to embrace flaws inspires others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that benefits everyone involved. Think of a workplace environment where colleagues consistently embrace imperfection. Mistakes are seen as learning opportunities, diverse perspectives are valued, and collaboration thrives. The same principle applies to personal relationships. When we approach loved ones with mindfulness and compassion, we foster deeper connections and mutual respect. And now, armed with the tools to embrace imperfection, we're ready to move forward together. In the next chapter, we'll explore patience in action, practical tips for applying patience in daily life, from navigating conflicts to reframing setbacks. Until then, take a deep breath and remember, life's beauty lies in its imperfections. Chapter 9, Patience in Action. Welcome back to our journey together. In the previous chapters, we've explored the foundations of patience, what it truly means, the science behind it, Buddhist teachings, grounding techniques, observing impatience without judgment, loving kindness, meditation, and embracing imperfection. Now let's turn our attention to how we can bring patience into action, how we can actively practice this quality in the midst of our busy, unpredictable lives. Patience is not just a theoretical concept or a passive state of being. It's an active choice, a way of showing up in the world with calmness, clarity, and compassion. When we practice patience in action, we transform ordinary moments into opportunities for growth and connection. Whether we're dealing with setbacks, navigating conflicts, or simply managing daily tasks, patience allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. To begin, let's reflect on why practicing patience in action is so important. Life rarely unfolds according to plan. Traffic jams, miscommunications, unexpected delays, and unforeseen challenges are part of the human experience. Without patience, these situations can spiral into frustration, stress, and even conflict. But when we approach them with patience, we create space for solutions to emerge naturally. We stop fighting against reality and start working with it, fostering harmony within ourselves and with those around us. Now let's break down how to cultivate patience in action across various aspects of life. Each scenario presents unique opportunities and challenges for applying what we've learned so far. 1. Navigating conflicts with patience. One of the most common areas where patience is tested is during conflicts, whether it's a disagreement with a partner, a tense conversation with a co-worker, or a clash of opinions with a friend. In these moments, emotions run high, and the urge to defend ourselves or lash out can feel overwhelming. But patience offers a different path, one that prioritizes understanding over winning and connection over confrontation. Here's how you can apply patience during conflicts. Pause before responding. When someone says something that triggers you, resist the impulse to react immediately. Take a deep breath, or several, and give yourself time to process what was said. This pause creates space between stimulus and response, allowing you to choose your words carefully instead of blurting out something you might regret later. When listen actively. True listening requires patience. Instead of planning your rebuttal while the other person is speaking, focus entirely on their words. Notice their tone, body language, and underlying emotions. Reflect back what you hear to ensure you understand correctly. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated because active listening demonstrates respect and opens the door for constructive dialogue. Reframe the situation. Shift to your perspective from seeing the conflict as a battle to win toward viewing it as a puzzle to solve collaboratively. Ask yourself, what does this person need? How can I address their concerns while honoring my own boundaries? By approaching disagreements with curiosity and empathy, you increase the likelihood of finding a resolution that satisfies everyone involved. For example, imagine a heated argument with your partner about household responsibilities. Your initial reaction might be defensiveness. I already do so much. Why don't you appreciate me? But if you pause, breathe, and listen deeply, you might uncover unspoken needs for recognition, support, or fairness that once addressed, dissolve the tension. Patience transforms conflict into collaboration. 2. Managing setbacks with grace. Setbacks are inevitable. They're part of any meaningful endeavor, whether it's pursuing a career goal, building a relationship, or working on personal growth. While it's tempting to view setbacks as failures, they're actually stepping stones toward success. Practicing patience in the face of setbacks helps us maintain momentum and resilience. Here's how to apply patience when things don't go as planned. Acknowledge your emotions. When a setback occurs, it's natural to feel disappointed, frustrated, or discouraged. Instead of suppressing these emotions, acknowledge them fully. Say to yourself, I'm feeling upset right now, and that's okay. Allowing yourself to feel without judgment prevents emotional suppression, which can lead to burnout or resentment. Zoom out. Take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Remind yourself that setbacks are temporary and don't define your worth or potential. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this moment to grow stronger? Reframing setbacks as lessons shifts your mindset from victimhood to empowerment. Break tasks into smaller steps. Large goals can feel overwhelming, especially after a setback. Break them down into manageable chunks and celebrate small wins along the way. For instance, if you're writing a book but hit writer's block, focus on completing one paragraph or even one sentence at a time. Progress, no matter how incremental, builds confidence and reinforces patience. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, who famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he replied, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His patience and persistence ultimately led to one of the greatest inventions in history. 3. Practicing patience in daily routines. Even mundane activities like commuting, cooking, or cleaning can become opportunities to practice patience. These seemingly trivial moments often reveal our tendencies toward impatience making them ideal for cultivating mindfulness and presence. Here are some ways to infuse patience into your daily routines. Transform waiting into presence. Instead of scrolling through your phone while standing in line or sitting in traffic, use the time to connect with your breath. Feel the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils. Notice the rise and fall of your abdomen. Use waiting as a reminder to come back to the present moment. Engage fully with tasks. Approach chores with intentionality. If you're washing dishes, pay attention to the warmth of the water, the texture of the sponge, and the sound of plates clinking. If you're folding laundry, notice the colors, patterns, and softness of the fabric. By immersing yourself in the task at hand, you turn routine activities into acts of meditation. Set realistic expectations. Many frustrations arise from unrealistic expectations about how long things should take. For example, if you expect dinner to cook instantly or emails to be answered immediately, you set yourself up for disappointment. Adjust your mindset by reminding yourself, this task has its own rhythm and I trust the process. 4. Cultivating patience in relationships. Relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, are a fertile ground for practicing patience. People are imperfect, and navigating differences takes time and effort. By approaching relationships with patience, we deepen trust, foster understanding, and strengthen bonds. Here's how to practice patience in relationships. Give others space to grow. Just as we're constantly evolving, so too are the people around us. Avoid rushing others to change or improve. Instead, offer encouragement and support, trusting that growth happens in its own time. Communicate with kindness. When discussing sensitive topics, choose your words carefully. Speak from a place of love and understanding, avoiding blame or criticism. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try, "I'd really appreciate it if we could talk more openly about how we're both feeling." Practice forgiveness. Holding on to grudges only weighs you down. When someone hurts you, remind yourself of their humanity. They, like you, are doing the best they can with the tools they have. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior. It means releasing resentment so you can move forward with peace. 5. Applying patience to technology and modern life. In today's fast-paced digital age, technology often amplifies impatience. Slow internet speeds, delayed responses, and endless notifications can trigger frustration. But these moments also provide valuable opportunities to practice patience. Here's how to stay patient in the digital realm. Limit multitasking. Constantly switching between apps and devices fragments your attention and increases stress. Focus on one task at a time, giving it your full presence. For example, if you're watching a movie, just put away your phone and immerse yourself in the experience. Respect others' time. Recognize that not everyone is available 24/7. If someone doesn't reply to your message right away, assume they're busy or need space, not that they're ignoring you. Use tech. Mindfully set boundaries around screen time to prevent burnout. Schedule regular breaks to stretch, breathe, or engage in offline activities. By using technology intentionally, you reclaim control over your time and energy. 6. Practicing patience with yourself. Finally, perhaps the most challenging yet rewarding area to practice patience is within yourself. Self-patience involves treating yourself with kindness, especially when you make mistakes or fall short of your goals. Here's how to cultivate self-patience. Celebrate small wins, acknowledge progress, no matter how minor. Did you meditate for 5 minutes today? That's a victory. Did you apologize after losing your temper? That's growth. Every step counts. Be gentle with setbacks. When you stumble, avoid harsh self-criticism. Instead, say to yourself, "This is part of the journey. I'm learning and growing." Treat yourself as you would a dear friend, with compassion and encouragement. Trust the process. Personal growth takes time. Don't rush yourself to fix everything overnight. Trust that consistent effort combined with patience will yield lasting results. Before we conclude this chapter, Let's revisit the metaphor of the mountain. A mountain stands tall and steady, regardless of the weather around it. Rain falls, winds howl, snow blankets its peaks, but the mountain remains unchanged. Similarly, practicing patience in action allows us to stand firm amidst life's storms, staying rooted in our inner peace no matter what happens externally. And now, armed with practical tools for bringing patience into action, we're ready to move forward together. In the final chapter, we'll explore how to integrate patience into your daily life seamlessly, creating habits that sustain this transformative quality over time. Until then, take a deep breath and remember, every moment is an invitation to practice patience. Chapter 10: Integrating Patience into Daily Life. Welcome back to our journey together. In the previous chapters, we've explored the foundations of patience, what it truly means, the science behind it, Buddhist teachings, grounding techniques, observing impatience without judgment, loving kindness meditation, embracing imperfection, and practical ways to apply patience in action. Now, let's turn our attention to the final step in cultivating patience, integrating it into your daily life. Patience isn't something you achieve once and then check off your list. It's an ongoing practice, a way of being that requires consistent effort and intention. The goal is not perfection but progress. By weaving patience into the fabric of your daily existence, you create a lifestyle that supports calmness, clarity, and compassion. Over time, patience becomes less of an effort and more of a natural way of moving through the world. To begin, let's reflect on why integrating patience into daily life is so essential. Life is dynamic, unpredictable, and often chaotic. Challenges arise, plans change, and people behave in unexpected ways. Without patience, these fluctuations can leave us feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, or disconnected. But when we approach each day with patience, we cultivate resilience, the ability to adapt gracefully to whatever comes our way. We stop resisting reality and start flowing with it, finding peace even amidst uncertainty. Now let's break down how to integrate patience into different aspects of your daily routine. Each section will provide actionable strategies, real-world examples, and reflections to help you make patience a cornerstone of your life. 1. Starting your day with intention. The way you begin your morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. If you rush out of bed, scramble to get ready, and dive headfirst into tasks, you're likely to carry that sense of urgency into everything you do. On the other hand, starting your day with mindfulness and intention creates space for patience to flourish. Here's how to infuse patience into your mornings. Wake up gently. Instead of reaching for your phone or jumping out of bed as soon as your alarm goes off, take a few moments to breathe deeply. Stretch your body, feel the weight of your blankets, and set an intention for the day. For example, you might silently say to yourself, "Today, I choose to meet life with patience and presence." Practice gratitude. Before getting out of bed, think of 3 things you're grateful for. They could be simple pleasures, like the warmth of your bed and the sound of birds outside, or the anticipation of a cup of coffee, or deeper joys like meaningful relationships or personal achievements. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, fostering a mindset of contentment and ease. Create a morning ritual. Incorporate activities that ground you in the present moment, such as journaling, meditating, or sipping tea mindfully. Avoid multitasking during this time. Instead, give your full attention to each activity. For instance, if you're drinking tea, notice its aroma, taste, and temperature. Feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. These small rituals anchor you in the here and now, setting a patient tone for the day ahead. 2. Managing time with realistic expectations. One of the biggest sources of impatience is unrealistic expectations about time. We live in a culture that glorifies busyness and productivity, leading many of us to cram too much into our schedules. When things inevitably take longer than planned, frustration builds. To counteract this, it's crucial to manage time with patience and realism. Here's how to approach time management with patience. Build buffer zones. Instead of scheduling back-to-back appointments or tasks, leave gaps between them. These buffer zones account for delays, transitions, or unexpected interruptions, reducing stress and creating space for flexibility. Prioritize what matters. Most focus on completing high-priority tasks first, and let go of the need to do it all. Recognize that quality matters more than quantity. For example, if you have 5 items on your to-do list but only complete 3, celebrate what you accomplished rather than dwelling on what's left undone. Reframe delays as opportunities. When something takes longer than expected, whether it's waiting for a meeting to start or dealing with a slow internet connection, use the extra time to reconnect with yourself. Take a few deep breaths, observe your surroundings, or mentally review your intentions for the day. Reframing delays in this way transforms irritation into appreciation. 3. Navigating work and productivity with patience. Work environments are often rife with triggers for impatience. Tight deadlines, demanding colleagues, technical glitches, and unmet expectations. While these challenges are inevitable, approaching them with patience can transform your experience. Here's how to cultivate patience at work, or break tasks into smaller steps. Large projects can feel overwhelming, especially under pressure. Break them down into manageable chunks and tackle one piece at a time. Celebrate small victories along the way to maintain motivation and momentum. Communicate clearly and calmly. Miscommunications are a common source of workplace tension. When discussing ideas or resolving conflicts, speak slowly and deliberately, choosing your words carefully. Listen actively to others, ensuring you understand their perspectives before responding. Take mindful breaks. Step away from your desk periodically to reset your mind and body. Use these breaks to stretch, breathe, or walk outside. Even a few minutes of mindful movement can restore focus and reduce stress. For example, imagine you're preparing a presentation for a big meeting and your computer freezes just as you're about to finalize it. Your initial reaction might be panic or frustration, but if you pause, acknowledge the situation, and remind yourself that technology issues are temporary, you'll approach the problem calmly and find a solution more quickly. 4. Building patient relationships. Relationships thrive on patience. Whether it's a romantic partnership, a friendship, or a family bond, patience fosters trust, understanding, and mutual respect. By practicing patience consistently, you strengthen your connections and create a foundation for lasting harmony. Here's how to nurture patience in relationships. Practice active listening. When someone shares their thoughts or feelings, resist the urge to interrupt or offer unsolicited advice. Instead, listen attentively, validating their experiences and emotions. For example, you might say, "That sounds really challenging. I'm here for you." Respect individual paces. Everyone moves at their own speed, whether it's processing emotions, making decisions, or pursuing goals. Avoid rushing others to align with your timeline. Trust that they'll grow and evolve in their own way. Cultivate empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes, imagining how they might be feeling or thinking. This perspective shift helps you respond with kindness rather than judgment. Consider the story of a parent raising a teenager. Adolescence is a time of rapid change, filled with mood swings, identity exploration, and boundary testing. A patient parent listens without lecturing, offers guidance without imposing, and trusts that their child will find their path in due time. 5. Practicing patience in moments of uncertainty. Life is inherently uncertain, and navigating ambiguity requires immense patience. Whether you're waiting for test results, applying for jobs, or facing a major life transition, uncertainty can trigger anxiety and impatience. But by leaning into patience, you build resilience and trust in the unfolding process. Here's how to stay patient during uncertain times. Focus on what you can control. While you can't control outcomes, you can control your response. Channel your energy into productive actions like researching options, seeking support, or engaging in self-care. Stay present. When worries about the future creep in, gently bring your attention back to the present moment. Notice your breath, bodily sensations, or immediate surroundings. Remind yourself, all I need to handle is this moment. Trust the timing of your life. Life unfolds in its own rhythm, often revealing opportunities and insights when you least expect them. Surrender to this flow, knowing that everything happens in divine timing. 6. Creating habits that sustain patience. To make patience a sustainable part of your life, it's important to establish habits that reinforce this quality over time. Consistency is key. Small, repeated actions compound into significant changes. Here's how to build habits that sustain patience. Set daily intentions. Each morning, commit to practicing patience in specific areas of your life. For example, you might decide, today I'll practice patience while driving, or I'll listen patiently during conversations. Reflect on progress. At the end of each day, take a few moments to reflect on how you practiced patience. What went well? What could you improve tomorrow? Journaling your reflections helps track growth and identify patterns. Celebrate small wins. Every act of patience, no matter how minor, is worth celebrating. Did you wait calmly in line? Did you refrain from snapping at someone? Acknowledge these victories, reinforcing positive behavior. 7. Embracing patience as a lifelong journey. Finally, remember that patience is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. There will be days when patience flows effortlessly and others when it feels elusive. That's okay. The beauty of patience lies in its elasticity. It stretches and contracts according to the demands of the moment. To embrace patience as a lifelong practice, be kind to yourself. When impatience arises, avoid self-criticism. Instead, view it as feedback, an opportunity to deepen your practice. Say to yourself, this is part of the process. I'm learning and growing. Seek inspiration. Surround yourself with the reminders of patience, quotes, stories, or role models who embody this quality. Draw strength from their examples when your own resolve wavers. Trust the ripple effect. Every act of patience contributes to a culture of empathy and understanding. Your efforts inspire others to respond similarly, creating a ripple effect that benefits everyone involved. Before we conclude this chapter, let's revisit the metaphor of the river. Imagine standing beside a winding stream, watching the water carve its path through rocks and soil. You could try to redirect the flow, forcing it into a straight line, but doing so would disrupt the ecosystem and waste your energy. Or you could step back and marvel at the river's natural course, appreciating its twists and turns. Similarly, when we surrender to life's imperfections and embrace patience, we conserve our energy and create space for unexpected blessings. And now, armed with tools to integrate patience into your daily life, we're ready to bring this journey to a close. In the final segment, we'll reflect on the profound impact of patience and invite you to carry this practice forward with confidence and grace. Until then, take a deep breath and remember, patience is always within reach. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey together. A journey toward cultivating patience, one of the most transformative qualities we can nurture within ourselves. Over the past 2 hours, we've explored what patience truly means, uncovered the science behind it, delved into ancient Buddhist wisdom and practiced grounding techniques, loving kindness, meditation, and embracing imperfection. We've learned how to apply patience in action, navigate conflicts, manage setbacks, and integrate this quality into every aspect of our life. As we reflect on all that we've covered, let's take a moment to acknowledge the profound impact patience can have, not just on our individual well-being, but on the world around us. When we choose patience, we create space for understanding, compassion, and connection. We stop reacting impulsively and start responding thoughtfully. We transform frustration into gratitude, chaos into calm, and challenges into opportunities for growth. Patience is not about perfection. It's not about eliminating impatience entirely or achieving some ideal state of serenity. It's about showing up each day with intention, choosing to meet life's ups and downs with grace and presence. It's about trusting the process, honoring the journey, and knowing that every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to peace. If there's one thing I hope you carry forward from today, it's this. Patience is always within reach. Even in moments when it feels elusive, you have the power to pause, breathe, and reconnect with the present moment. You have the tools to observe your triggers without judgment, extend kindness to yourself and others, and embrace life's imperfections with an open heart. These practices are not reserved for monks or sages. They're accessible to everyone, including you. Remember, patience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Start small. Perhaps commit to taking 3 deep breaths the next time you feel impatient, or dedicate 5 minutes each morning to mindfulness meditation. Over time, these small actions will ripple outward, influencing how you interact with the world and how the world responds to you. And don't forget to celebrate your progress along the way. Every act of patience, whether it's waiting calmly in line, listening attentively during a conversation, or reframing a setback as a lesson, is worth celebrating. Each victory reinforces your ability to stay grounded and resilient, even in the face of life's uncertainties. I also want to remind you that patience is deeply intertwined with self-compassion. There will be days when impatience gets the better of you, and that's okay. Instead of criticizing yourself, offer kindness and understanding. Say to yourself, this is part of the process. I'm learning and growing. Treat yourself as you would a dear friend, with empathy, encouragement, and unconditional support. Finally, let's revisit the metaphor of the mountain. A mountain stands tall and steady, regardless of the weather around it. Rain falls, winds howl, snow blankets its peaks, but the mountain remains unchanged. In the same way, patience allows us to stand firm amidst life's storms, staying rooted in our inner peace no matter what happens externally. As we conclude this session, I invite you to carry the lessons of patience with you throughout your day and beyond. Whether you're navigating traffic, managing work deadlines, nurturing relationships, or simply savoring a quiet moment, let patience guide you. Trust that every challenge carries a hidden gift, every delay holds a lesson, and every moment offers an opportunity to grow. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May you find peace in every breath, joy in every moment, and patience in every challenge. Until next time, take care, and remember, you are enough, exactly as you are. Namaste.